4-second countdown. And episode 185 today, we are going to talk about a hot topic. Hot sports opinion is, do you agree with the NAR, with them raising our dues? We're going to get started right now.
Right now?
I like the song.
Yeah. Episode 185. Guys, today we're going to talk about NAR just voted to raise our membership dues. Did you know that, first off? And what are they tying it to in order to justify raising it? So we're going to break that down today. We want people to chime in on this one. If you're listening to the replay or wherever you're consuming your podcast, please leave us a review on this. And then go thank our sponsors, right? First and foremost, Jesse, I'm gonna change it up on you a little bit because you probably don't have.
I don't.
You probably don't have a banner for this.
I don't.
So I need you to do a quick ad spot for Tour Academy.
So close.
No, it's not Tour Academy. That one we retired. That one.
Yeah.
Tour Studios.
Keeping the name alive.
Yeah, Tour Studios. If you are looking to do a podcast, if you're looking to do any type of video work, video editing, you need it done, Jesse's your guy. You want to come in and shoot a show, if you're here local in Dallas, then come into our studios, and Jesse will make you look better than us, right? And he'll chop it up and make sure that it's out there for your Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, everything to do with your Facebook content. So get with your podcast studio home, Tour Studios. Get with Jesse Showalter.
Did you just think of that right now?
I just did.
Nice.
I love it.
I know.
I love it.
It's like I'm powered by AI or something.
Oh, that would be very, very cool. And then go visit MortgageMikeOfTexas.com, our favorite loan officer, our favorite lender. He's over there giving that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. And I know right now he's really, really just like, he must be listening to Force a lot. He's over there analyzing all the CPI index reports and waiting for all these reports coming out and saying, it's good news, bad news.
I think she's talking about Debacker, though.
Yes, he
Oh,
is.
definitely. Katie is talking about Mortgage Mike of Texas. He's super cute. He'll give you that super cute Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. So go over to mortgagemikeoftexas.com. And while you're doing that, just talk to our buddy Theron Smith. Get that hard shell protection over at Armadillo Home Warranty. And ask him about how his school bus is going, because I'm definitely very curious about how this make-ready. I went to dinner last night with some people from Asher's. I'm really getting ingrained into the school that he's with, and we got some amazing friends out of that. And we went to this dinner that we thought it was going to be the voice of, we get to hear the kindergarten parent's voice. Yeah. Turned out it was actually a campaign raise and asking for money, but that's okay.
Always.
But we were talking about some of the weird things that we're into or we don't like. Like, I don't like drinking water out of a glass cup or just glass.
Really?
Yeah, because it makes the water smell like fish.
That's not totally wrong.
It
does make it smell different.
Yes, and there's another gentleman there who doesn't like to eat cereal with he eats cereal with milk, but can't have it with a metal spoon because he says it changes the flavor.
Do you have this weird compulsion to bite down on the spoon too? And I don't want to do that.
No, I don't.
Because it's in your, and you're like, don't do it.
No. Absolutely not. That's strange.
It's the same thing as when I don't drink soda, but I drink sparkling waters. And like...
You swish it around?
No, I drink it, and then you're like, what if I, like the nails on a chalkboard feeling of like your teeth scraping the inside of the can? I think about that so much. I'm like, don't do that.
But we were talking about this one couple has an RV, and I was like, I would love to have an RV and just to go on the road.
Would
with
Heather
everyone.
Love to have an RV?
Heather would not love to have an RV.
Okay.
So, but Theron has one. So get with Theron Smith over at Armadillo Home Warranty, armadillo.1/Tor, Tore. And I think Dana Wynn over at Homeward DFW would love to have an RV.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
she wants to property manage
You're
some
gonna
RVs.
start an RV management company.
Yeah, RV management company coming up. So just go to homewarddfw.com and tell Dana that we are starting an RV management company.
And
you heard it here first.
During the pandemic, I used to text all you guys like thrice a week and be like, guys, I've looked up Winnebagos. We're going to drive one to like White Sands National Park. And nobody freaking said yes. Y'all acted like you're all busy.
No, they were closed.
They're in quarantine.
I thought they said they were closed. You couldn't do it. It's
I don't know
illegal
that you
to go to
can-
the White Sands.
Close national parks. They can't stop us all.
No, they did. It's national park. That's federal.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
federal land was
Are
closed.
they like a gate or something?
I think so.
Oh.
They built that fence.
Heather doesn't want an RV because Nick's a giant. That makes me laugh.
Yes, but we're getting an RV, and we're going on the road. We're taking the show on the road. Actually, we'll just do tour travel.
Tour on tour.
Yes.
Oh.
Tour on tour. Yes.
That's
I love it.
cool.
I love it. I
Kinda
love it.
like it.
All right, guys. This is something I wanted to talk about. It's I think last week when it came out. Let me see here. It came out on May 11th, so 6 days ago.
Yep.
I saw that NAR voted to raise membership dues in alignment with inflation. Right? So the National Association of Realtors voted Thursday to tie our annual membership dues to the Consumer Price Index. Then the board separately voted to increase our annual dues by 4% to $156 next year.
Dude, that's an even bigger story. Is freaking Inman costs $200 a year? You know you can just pirate that stuff. You can share logins. You know that, right?
I don't know
No,
that.
we don't. What are you talking about? We would never. This is not Netflix.
Jesse's trying to pull up the story. He's getting hit with paywalls left and right.
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay, so
Everybody has a paywall.
I'm sorry. So the increase was $6.
No, 150 to $156. 4% increase.
Yeah, that's $6.
Is it?
Yeah, I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
It just feels like the inflation thing is such an easy thing.
And did you know? Where did I see this? We had a special assessment fee last year.
I feel like every fee
that
is a
I want to
special
know more
assessment.
about.
Yeah, so that's on top of that was on top of the where did I see that for our consumer ads.
Okay.
So we had a special
for some consumer ads.
we had a special assessment fee last year that was agreed upon. For the consumer ads that were being put out.
Yeah.
And so here's what the Inman article talked about. So the board of directors of the National Association of Realtors overwhelmingly voted Thursday morning to approve a proposal tying its annual membership dues to a measure of inflation. The policy increases the likelihood of annual dues hikes, and particularly since it does not include a previous suggested cap on the increases. So just like Texas
okay.
property taxes,
You
if you
could
don't have
just
a homestead, there's no cap. So it could
Increase
just-
or whatever you want.
Yes. So the board separately voted to increase annual dues for 2024 to its 1.5 million members. We're probably losing a lot of those, by the way.
It's 1.5. Okay.
By 4% to $156. So the NAR's annual dues, so Brian was right, he knows how to do math, currently stands at $150 plus our special assessment for its consumer ad campaign, which was raised to $45 last year.
Okay, so it's like $201 total then, with the $45 plus
Yes.
$156. Oh, okay. I'm doing some math here.
Yeah.
Just wanted to see what their
Feel like
gross
you're right,
rev
Facebook
is.
user.
Whoo, $301 million in gross rev.
Somebody's getting a
We
payday.
need to start an association, boys.
Yeah. So
Tour Association.
so the proposal to raise dues by $6 in 2024 was the only policy recommendation from NAR's Finance Committee to generate any
That was
discussion
the
at the board.
only recommendation was to raise dues. They're like, look, let's not even look at the P&L.
No.
We've only got one recommendation.
There's only one thing we could do to fix this
We've
problem.
looked at the books. We can't cut costs anywhere. It would be impossible.
So I do want and this is something that I asked Brian and Jesse before we started this, and I was like, so you're going to tie it to inflation, right, or the CPI index report, and tell me what from our NAR memberships, what is getting more expensive to run the organization? Is it salaries?
Probably.
I think we have to start with like what the association does. I need to shave. But what is this is so like, I know this is like a cliche thing to ask. It's like this resonates throughout Facebook groups, real estate industry wide. Like, what does an NAR even do for us? Actually, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like legitimately ask that question. I don't know really what they do. I'm actually asking that like inquisitively. Can we look it up? Can you Google what they do? And don't Google it from their site, right?
So while you're looking that up, Jesse, the committee always works hard to achieve this through a lens, all right, to basically keep our members in first consideration, right? So basically, next year, when the finance committee is preparing the budget proposal, they're going to analyze the CPI index to determine whether to recommend a dues increase to the board of directors. The committee stated in its rationale for the proposal to the board. So, again, I just want to know, how do we, like, this is a membership association.
Yeah.
So what is costing us more to run our board year after year?
Well, I can tell you they spent all $45 of that special assessment taking over the first page of Google for the search, what does NAR do? Because it's all their site. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, this is like kind of that mainstream, big government complaint thing. And I know it's not a ton of money, but it does. I mean, I guess the bigger question is like, is this really about the assessment or the raise in dues to inflation or whatever, or are we just continuing to rehash the conversation around, hey, we do combined give a certain association a little over $300 million a year, are they doing things that benefit the greater good? And I think that's the segue into the real conversation we're having is like, what does NAR do for realtors on a larger level?
From my understanding, Danny's right here.
Yeah, Danny's right.
I feel like
They're lobbying.
is it number one or number two biggest like super PAC or whatever?
Something like that.
They're very, very well funded. Yeah,
if you volunteer, I guess, run to be part of NAR, the board, or you're voted in, right?
Right.
Is that a paying gig?
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Sure.
Because I've also heard that a lot of people.
Oh, we're number one. We are number one.
So $4 million donated.
Beer wholesalers is number two. That's an interesting one.
So here's the biggest thing that I have is, by the way, the proposal to the directors, the committee noted that in 2023, NAR's operating budget anticipates a net income of $8.4 million. But in 2024, the association expects a net loss of $14.2 million, even with the $6 increase in annual dues. So we're going to lose
our money on.
Yeah, I would like to know where's it going.
Yeah, the day in and day out of what NAR actually does is a mystery to me. That's a lot of money to take a loss on.
So their losses, this is largely due to an expected decline in memberships to 1.38 million in 2024, after ending 2022 at a record 1.58 million members.
I like Matty Aguirre's drop in. Great reference.
The committee also cited cost increases of 30% in some meetings and travel-based programs. So we're
travel-based.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that we're paying for people to travel.
Yeah. I guess let me ask you this.
They
because
don't pay for me to travel.
Yeah, should they? Yeah. Gas is expensive. Maybe we should just be more level-headed about this and ask both sides, right? What do we think NAR should be doing? And feel free to chime in the comments, too. Because I kind of see both sides of it, meaning like we are asking for NAR to do more, but I don't even know what they should be doing. I don't know that they should exist, but I'm also not the brightest guy in the world. So like, what do we expect from our association that we combine give $301 million a year to? I think it's like, because we always talk about like they should freaking help us fight against Zillow and all that type of stuff. We're getting real close to overregulation, big government stuff there, right?
Theron's right.
They
too.
do.
They do run some sweet radio ads.
They do run the radio ads, and we're all designated realtors. You know, I wonder if anybody's ever gotten a ticket or a fine for claiming to be a realtor when they were just a licensed agent.
I'm sure somebody got a nice little slap in the hand, or maybe $100 fine. Or
So
something.
But from who? The NAR? Yeah. I wouldn't pay it. I'm not a member.
It's true.
So this isn't. Someone posted in the Inman comments, because I guess it ties it to Facebook. I can never figure out how the comment section of the Inman stuff works. But Someone posted, "Is NAR a for-profit organization? If not, then shouldn't dues be set at a price that covers expenses not tied to some sort of index?" That makes this, they're saying this makes absolutely no sense to me.
Oh,
Also, I was under the impression that the number of realtors has increased, so doesn't that bring in more money without increasing the fees? Well, to that point, we're losing members.
We are.
And if we are,
They should lose members too, like
does-
staff and payroll and
Yeah.
offices, suits. We're so privileged to be able to have this conversation though, because we're really just talking about big government groups and how much money they make and whether they should be for or not profit. Like, man.
I mean, I will say one thing that
other for-profit entities in this country, NAR is like the most tame. Sorry, buddy.
I know. I was going to say one thing that I do know that they do is they continue to keep our very, very, very well-run MLS sites.
Yeah, like, I mean, if anything, I don't know. That's a really good question. Are the MLS sites made on a local level, or
well, MLS is owned; those are individually owned.
Correct.
Yeah,
So it's not like we've got one universal MLS. Which
we got to give those guys more money. Their sites suck.
Yeah, I mean, and if you go in these comment sections, I mean, as long as they keep fighting the good fight and advocating for realtors, I'm okay with it. That's really not much, all things considered. I'm like, again, what's the are they advocating for consumers to use realtors? Are they keeping from the lobbyist part? What are they doing on the lobbyist side to keep? Are they keeping us relevant? Because ultimately, the thought process right now is, the thought process we've all been fighting is iBuyers, technology companies disrupting, commission compression, and that all realtors will be obsolete because of AI.
One good point. They won't. I mean, the whole world will be. Regardless, put that back.
We're not going down that path again.
This is. I love this definition because this is big politics. Jesse, put that back up real fast. Is like, I love the meaning behind things that is not the meaning behind things. That's a weird way to put that, but like, this is what a 501c is, right? So a nonprofit, and organizations that are not organized for profit and no part of the net earnings of which inures to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. And do you know how to make sure that your company doesn't make a net profit that benefits any private shareholder or any individual?
I don't.
Don't make a profit. And what's a really good way to not make a profit?
By not raising dues.
Pay lots of salaries.
Oh.
That is how they get away with using their money in the way they want to.
And lobby a lot of people.
Yeah.
Again, I would
Have lots of expenses, is what I'm saying.
We've talked about this before, and I would think by now that someone within the NAR organization, or who is on the board or has run for NAR office, I guess is because you can be the NAR president.
I assume so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
It used to be this guy with a goatee.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. It goes to show you that most people don't know what NAR does.
No.
Because I've been doing this almost 20 years, and I still don't know what they do.
I missed the election. Do we get to vote?
I don't know.
I think I miss the election every year.
Did we get? Yeah, I want to know what the term limits are. I was like, I don't know.
I'm going to tell you how many people knew about the special assessment, which, by the way, this special assessment has been ongoing since 1999. Started in 99 at $15, went to $20 in 2002, $30 in 07, $35 in 09, and since then it has remained unchanged until 2022, when they decided to increase it to $45 starting in 23. And the board also extended the campaign for another 5 years to run through 2027 rather than the usual 3-year renewal, citing the increase of media cost.
Media costs. This is, again, the media. So it's a nonprofit. And I'm sorry, going down the rabbit hole. I was trying to Google in the background, like what the president of the NCAA makes, just to prove the point around nonprofits and how they are certainly for profit in their own regard. Since 1999, NAR has spent more than $99 million And 22 million in 2011 alone. It's consistently ranked among largest blocks.
So here it is. The special assessment is used exclusively for NAR's consumer ad campaign, which promotes the value of property ownership.
Okay.
And the realtor brand. The association launched its fourth "That's Who We Are" national ad campaign in February.
Yeah.
And it's who we are, the letter R, so not A-R-E. So the letter R.
Oh.
National ad campaign in February with an emphasis on the difference between realtors and other agents and tech platforms.
Mark Emmert. There it is. 2.9 million. The guy raked in 2019. That was before the inflation bump.
Yeah. So, and that's the NCAA president.
Yeah.
So I would assume that the NAR president's probably making $50 million a year.
Let's see. Oh man, this would be so much fun. We're about to put this on blast. I don't know. We shouldn't even do this.
Well, it's got to be public,
Kenny
right?
Purcell is his name, I guess. That's not anywhere near what I thought. Leave this guy alone.
Let's see here.
I don't know.
Oh wait, no. Former National Association of Research, Dale Stinton.
Former CEO and current, so 3.9, and then Bob Goldberg. If he's truly the current CEO of NAR, then he's making 1.9 million.
1.9 million, dude.
Yeah.
And Dale Stinton is the former CEO. He was making 3.999932.
So he's making more as the former CEO.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's better to no longer have the job.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
Work your way to the top.
Yeah. So look, all I'm going to question, I'm just going to continue to question this because I think ultimately, as I don't even know. I just don't see the service benefit there to go ahead and raise dues, especially when memberships are falling.
Correct.
You're falling on supposedly tougher economic times.
Right.
And does it, on more difficult economic times, does it make more sense to raise dues, keep dues the same, or try to slash dues?
I would obviously try to slash costs more than anything.
Slashing costs would help keep probably dues the same.
Isn't that what they tell all of us to do anyway during a hard time?
That's right.
Isn't that like their instruction for all real estate agents? Cut costs.
Yes.
Guys,
What the
cut your
shift book
costs.
says.
Yes. So
I
ultimately,
mean-
they're not following. It's not following suit. And then someone in the comments did in the Inman report put like, look, NAR has fallen on deaf ears the entire time. Now, I would go and venture to say, is that some of our faults? Because the people that would, and I'm careful to figure out how to say this the right way without offending people, but the type of agents that are running for some type of NAR membership seat. Typically, what I've found in the past is they're not necessarily just large producers.
I know at least one that currently does, and at least one that I think used to work for NAR, and I don't think they're big producers.
So I mean,
That's like not judgmental about.
No, it's not. It does. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm just looking at it from an angle as a whole, and I'm trying to determine, is the voice of the agents really there? Because I'm going to tell you, this to raise these dues or to put it on inflation, the vote. Let me go back up real quick. The vote was, I mean, it was massive in terms of how many people agreed on this. Let me see here. Vote. I'll find it in a second while you talk about something else, Brian.
I just want to talk about how inflation is self-perpetuating for a moment because I just love the excuse that we hide behind the inflation thing.
That's true.
But you know that whenever things cost more, people, they have less money. And then you know what happens when people have less money? Well, everybody tends to work for a business in some form. Either they own a business or a business owns them in the sense that they work for it, right? But then in order to pay their people, their business would have to charge more. Or they, as a business owner, would have to charge more to make more money to pay for the more expensive stuff. And so as more stuff becomes expensive, stuff becomes more expensive. And that is one way in which you get inflation. And I just think this funny thing that we always say, we had to raise our prices because of inflation. And the reality is, yes, so did everyone else. That's why there's inflation. I don't know It's very simple math. It's not like this isn't like it didn't come out of nowhere, guys. It's not like the Black Plague. Like it's everybody raises their prices, which means everybody else has to raise their prices. And that's where inflation comes from. And I just love that we talk about it like it's something we can't control.
Well, and I know we kind of talked on it before, but like as inflation comes down, are the dues going to come down? Like I'm okay with that.
I'd be okay with that too. Jerome, get on it.
I guarantee, here it is. And I guarantee you that, and that's the point, is like dues aren't coming down, right? Because they're only going to tie it to inflation that's going to go up. But if it goes down, they can't change it because they've already set their spending budget.
Yeah.
Right? So ultimately, the board approved the dues inflation policy. 708 approved to 98 that said no, without any discussion on the floor.
No discussion. They're just like, sit down, Todd.
So
There'll be no discussion today.
So the biggest thing that I would say is, I mean, I would love to get connected to somebody at NAR, and I would love to hear their take on this.
Well, y'all are about to be, because I'm going to run.
You've heard the announcement is
I'm
now.
running straight for CEO, though. I don't want any in between.
I mean, it doesn't pay as much.
What was his name? Mark?
Bob Goldberg is making less than the former CEO.
That's right. He took like a 60% pay cut.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So
Come on, Bobby G, way to set the standard.
yes. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have much else on this because it's I'm dumbfounded on the fact is that we can there's that such strong support to approve it, but no one's questioning how to lower it, how to keep it the same, and we're also expected to lose quite a bit of memberships through this year and next year.
I think that's a good segue, right? Because this is just a fun thing to complain about. And yes, NAR needs to do more for us, or like maybe explain what they do or whatever. So does the rest of the government and like a lot of things.
I was also going to say that NAR building on Michigan in downtown Chicago, that's some prime
It's tight,
property.
dude.
I'm sure that they're paying a pretty penny for that.
That's
bad
right
boy.
across from Trump Tower, right? It's
Pretty much right
catty
by it.
corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
know
don't
where
think
that
they.
is.
I thought they subleased some of it though. I think.
I'm sure they.
I think they've subleased. I think they've cut down on it, if I remember correctly.
So you mean they laid people off so that they can cut their costs?
No, I
And-
think ultimately, I
rose
thought
our
that
dues?
happened during COVID because they stopped people stopped coming in. So I thought they started to sublease that. I could be wrong, but I thought I read something of that.
That might be true. Well, let's see if we can lease a spot, because that's a really nice building. But this is where we're like, yes, we are going to lose members. And to that end, one of the things that we came across on Yahoo Finance recently, look, actually, this is actually just a kind of an overarching little piece of guidance or whatever, right? Like we're finding in a lot of our businesses right now, like things were really good for a very long stretch, and then they're more difficult. And one of the things that we're not really doing very well right now is just accepting that things are more difficult and that we're going to have to work harder or change our mentality or change our activities to not only survive but thrive. Like that is just, and by the way, we've been saying that for a really long time. It's just really easy to be the first one to say it because it hasn't happened yet, and then it gets like so boring of hearing it by the time it does happen. You're like numb to it, so you still experience that pain, right? Like I was saying that to our team in January of last year when Russia invaded Ukraine. I was like, guys, it's time to buckle down. The world's going to look different, right? But I was kind of so early, and then we had like all of 2022 that was like magnificent, that like we're going to lose a lot of agents. That's just the amount of deals that dried up. But you don't have to be one. You just have to simply accept that you're going to have to really, really, really buckle down to really thrive right now. And I actually say thrive, not survive. Like we've got people that are doing amazing right now, but they're really, really, really dialed in at all times, and they're even more so right now. So you can be on fire right now if you really lean in. So that'll be my soapbox for the day. But I say, not to say, yeah, we're losing a lot of membership and things like that, but one of the reasons that we lose people in times of downturn is because when things are good, it always feels like we're missing some sort of opportunity. And then when things get a little bit tough, when there really is opportunity that manifests itself, like I said, like opportunity never disappears, it just manifests itself differently. We don't put ourselves in a good enough position to take advantage of that. The Yahoo Finance article we were reading was like 90% of Americans don't invest in real estate in an economic downturn. And that is shocking.
Yeah.
Just because at the most basic level, if I just walked into a store and there was a bunch of stuff I needed in there and it was all on sale, that would be the equivalent of me just being like, not today, and just walking out and turning around. And that's what so many people do. But when the market is hot, I mean, how many investors do we work with over the last few years?
Oh,
I mean,
gosh,
it was like
they're everywhere.
Like people were buying just properties left and right. They didn't care about cap rates, numbers, none of it. But now there's been a downturn.
Hold on. So do we call those investors or speculators?
Speculators.
Yes, because they were buying it off of
I
appreciation.
think that you've got to earn the title investor.
Yes.
Yes. So a lot of speculators. And now that things have gotten to a point where you really can invest and it's a lot more opportunity, especially if you want to work for it, 9 out of 10 people are too scared to pull the trigger. And you add that to some of the other really, really jarring financial facts about American society, it's crazy how bad with money we are.
Do you know who's really bad with money? NAR. Because they approved back in 2018 $45 million. They approved to sink $45 million into its Chicago headquarters for renovation.
45 mil, and then they freaking
for renovations.
They renovated it, and then hopefully they raised those rents on the parts that they subleased.
They did. They raised the rents on us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they did. We are the renters.
We are the rents.
Yes,
that's funny.
No, so
$45 million
I mean, you're correct. Is that the speculators call themselves investors, and that's not
right.
That's not the right. They talk about how much money they made during the last 3 years.
Sure.
And is that money still working for them? Because they probably exited.
Well, that's the thing. You really shouldn't have made any money during the last 3 years. If anything, your equity position should have increased. But nobody made money for the last 3 years because asset prices were so high. Unless you sold at the right perfect time, which meant you probably bought at a really great time. Anything you bought for the last 3 years, you haven't made money off of, unless you were speculating.
Yeah.
And then you didn't make as much money as you probably could have or should have. So yeah, like we talk about like how much money we made. I care more about like how much cash flow and equity you have.
Yes.
Right. And so if you bought in the last 3 years, your equity position is not great right now. But the opportunity is there to go start building it.
Yeah. And so the question that I have right now, or the concern I have, is buying here, at least in Texas, right? So we're only going to look at Texas and the Dallas-Fort Worth market because that's really what I know really, really well.
Yeah.
Is that if you're going to go buy or invest,
yeah,
and more than likely, if you're a real estate agent, you're going to do a couple things. They're going to call themselves an investor if they're flipping, which I don't know if that's not an investor, right? That is, you're flipping. You're a salesperson. You're basically rehabbing, so you're a contractor.
Yeah.
Or you're a general contractor because you're running contractor crews through, with the hopes of adding value or improving value and selling at a profit. So you're basically selling like a real estate agent.
Well, actually, this is a fun little thought experiment. Do the Webster's definition of investing. If you've ever thought that flipping houses is actually investing in real estate. Not to say that that's bad. I flipped plenty of houses, and so has Nick. But there we go. It is...
So to expend money with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result. So I guess flippers are investors then, Brian.
No, they're speculators.
Oh.
That's not the Webster's. Oh, that's Oxford. They're the other terrible. No. Regardless, right? You know what I mean. Flippers are speculators, not investors.
Correct. And so you've got as a real estate agent, you're going to invest, so you're first going down the flipping route. That's the first move they typically want to make.
Which is like so crazy because it's the one that requires the most work.
Most work, and it's real easy to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? And I think when I really analyze it, because I've been talking to agents and that were like, just hard money, give me a hard money loan, let's flip a property together. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And the reason being is that it doesn't make sense because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of time frame. Costs are higher, right? And by the time you're done with that rehab, we don't know if interest rates are going to be high or low right now in this kind of bounce around economy. We don't know if the government's going to agree to increase the debt ceiling or not. So there's a lot of unknowns that could really screw up what potentially could be a good deal in your eyes, or potentially you just wanting to get a flip under your belt because you just want to tell people you flipped a house.
Well, and you're likely only going to make the same amount of money, or even less, than if you just worked your butt off and went and sold a couple houses.
Yes.
And the thing is, and I tell our people this all the time, is like the beautiful thing about what we do for a living is we work in a zero risk environment. Being a real estate agent comes with zero risk for the most part, right? Like what I mean is, like, when I pick up the phone to lead generate every single day, there's like no risk to that whatsoever.
Correct.
The only thing I risk is people being mean and hurting my feelings. Like that's my whole. I have an emotional outlay, not a cash outlay, for the most part.
Yep.
Flipping, you can actually lose a lot of real money.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of risk in it. So like, why wouldn't? And it takes a lot of work. So why wouldn't you just really work hard to lead generate? And I think that, like, right now, this would actually be the time. By the way, guys, that if I was looking for my first investment property or a bunch more investment properties, like, I would be talking to every other agent that made some money in the last few years that I know, and talking about how do we pool resources and invest together. Like, quite frankly.
So, yep. So that's all right. So I want to go down that, right? So we have real estate agent, because the only real estate podcast worth listening to. Hopefully you're a real estate agent, or you're Theron.
You just like real estate agents
Yep.
a lot.
You like real estate a lot. You're Theron or Katie or Heather listening, right?
We got support. My wife's here in the back of the room today. They're all here.
They're all here. And so the next one would be maybe wholesaling and flipping, and then you've got
Much less risk.
You've got then going down the rental path, right? And so my only concern at this moment in the rental path is that agents would be buying at the price too high and not really working on the negotiation part. Yeah. And are we going to see a decrease in rental or rental values?
Right.
Do we start to see that come down, or is it going to stay stabilized? And you have property taxes and property insurance that can eat away your profit really, really fast, and that's before you get into vacancy, and before you get into make-readies and repairs.
I think so. There's pros and cons to both sides, right? Because I think that the single-family rentals are going to be less affected by rental rate compression, simply because there's so many more multifamily units nationwide. They're much more of a commodity. Like we deal with this in our other business, right? Like we have to stress test for rents possibly coming down, right? And the same with the property taxes. Like, it's magnified against more doors. And the same with your insurance costs. It's magnified against more doors. And so the cost concern is probably less so on the single family side. And you're not getting the upside of diversifying across more doors, meaning on the single family side, you do put your eggs in one basket. And so that door, when you have one CapEx event or whatever, blows up your entire profit for maybe the entire year.
I mean? Or you're personally managing it, not going to Dana Wynn at home or DFW.com, and really leveraging out your time and letting an expert handle it, where you're now too much involved.
Yeah.
And you're so solely focused on this one house because you're treating it like a house that you live in and not like a business.
Yep. That
you now are micromanaging your tenants. They're either unhappy, or you start doing unnecessary repairs, or not even repairs. You're just doing work to the house because the tenants can see that you're willing to do anything and everything, and now you're upgrading a house that starts to cost you now money, eats away your profit, and before you know it, you're running in a negative. It becomes a nightmare. You want to offload it or unload it because you just don't know how to get out from underneath it.
You're hitting the nail on the head, and those are the downsides. I would meet you right in the middle. If I worked my butt off for the last few years and I made a lot of money in 2020, 2021, 2022, and I, was looking for opportunity right now, I might be scared to pull the trigger because things are a little bit light right now. I'll be looking, and I'd be pulling my money with people that I trust that are insightful, and I'd be looking for investors that bought 4 to 20 units in the last couple of years at a low interest rate that was maybe floating, right? that is mismanaging the heck out of it, that didn't stress test it well, whose taxes just increased, and I would be looking to buy that thing because it's probably too small for syndicators, too big for individual investors, and I think you can get a deal right there. You got to be willing to pull the trigger. I think those deals are out there for agents right now that really want to get the best of both worlds, but don't really have the experience to go into a big syndication and understand the pitfalls of potentially putting all your eggs in one basket. I'd be looking to find the diversification of multiple doors without the big intellectual challenges of big deals.
Yeah, no, I like that strategy. And ultimately, we're doing a little bit of everything, right? So if you kind of break down what we're doing here, and for those that don't know, so this will be a pitch. By the way, listen to this pitch because you're going to want to hear it.
This entire podcast was a pitch. The boring NAR conversation, it was all leading to this.
It was leading for you to give up your membership and join Tor Association.
Tor Association.
Yes. And for a one-time fee, you can sign up for a lifetime membership.
Tor Association of
TorAcademy.com.
of Realtors.
Yes. We can't call it realtors, right? No. We'll have to drop the R.
We could be realtors because
Yes.
they're very adamant that they are realtors.
We can do REEL because of Tor Studios. We'll be making you reels.
Reels.
Yes. All right. I see what you did there, Jesse. I like it. But what we're doing here, Brian and myself and another partner, is we started a company called Deep Blue Capital. And Deep Blue Capital's job is to look at and identify potential assets that could be a good investment for investors who may not have the time or the experience, the knowledge, or maybe they're just a little scared to run something on their own, to be able to come pool their resources, right? So this is called syndication, right? So we take down we put a contract, we put a property under contract, so we'll use one that we did in Waco called Bear Crossing. And that is a 96-bed student housing facility. That asset alone, we put under contract. We'll call it, just for shits and giggles, we'll call it $4 million, Brian. And we know that there's a value add upside of increasing rents and better management that will increase the bottom line and get, in the next 3 to 5 years, at least, if done correctly, 2 to 2.25 times return on your investment, right? The investors don't have to do anything. They get the benefit of having tax write-offs, and you're able to know that it's secured by an asset. And in 3 to 5 years, if everything goes as planned, then there's an exit, what's called a disposition.
The investors did have to come to the investor appreciation event. So they did have to do something.
Yes. So they come to the investor party.
Right.
Right? And it allows them to go out and still do their day-to-day, which is, in the real estate world, hopefully working with buyers and sellers. And if they're entrepreneurs, they get to stay in their business. Or if they're high-income earners, they get to stay in their lane. Yep. And ultimately, you're going to see more and more of that. Like, you can go to our website, Deep Blue Capital.
Nope. Deep Blue RE.
deepbluere.com, right? Just take a look at it, deepbluere.com.
Deep Blue Capital is like these dudes from Amsterdam, these jerks.
Yeah, so deepbluere.com. Just take a look at it, and you might want to just sign up to get on the list to see how things run and operate. Even if you're not ready to invest, join our world. Okay, I thought you were upset about that. So
no,
join
it
our
doesn't
world.
Look quite good.
So get on, just sign up, first name, last name, email. And from that, what you'll do is you'll start to see when we start sending out updates, or we start sending out investment opportunities, even if you're not in a place to invest right now, you get to start to familiarize yourself with how that investment world works. And we will update you guys on this show and other investment shows that we have going on of that middle ground, the non-syndications.
Yep.
Like, we are looking at the mobile home development.
Yeah, that's a smaller one that would be really, really fun to get in on. I like that one a lot. We're looking at a lot of those.
Yeah, that spits out $12,000 to $15,000 a month in cash flow or in revenue, and then you've got your management fees and vacancies and stuff like that. but it's not a deal to syndicate on. So we would love to break those down.
Yep.
If you would want to join us on that journey to really identify, because as real estate agents, we could be under attack. We could start to see major commission compression, or we could have all our commission go to NAR membership dues because they're going to raise so much that it only takes 10 houses to pay off your membership.
And even if we're not, by the way, you should always be preparing for the future, right?
Yes.
That's how we got started in this, was investing in other people's stuff. That's where this company came from, was being limited partners in other big syndication deals. That's how we learned the business. So that's, like I said, just the sheer stat that 9 out of 10 people in America don't invest in real estate when it's at its most probably prudent as far as the cycle is mind-blowing to me.
Well, I think they buy into the psychology.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going.
And the media hype of everything's bad. So even though we're in this industry and we're still, and this always just blows my mind, because I had Nicole Espinoza, friend of the show, short sale queen, right? She had invited me to speak at one of her short sale masterminds. Yeah. And this was last year, and one of the ladies asked a question about she's really afraid to invest. She's a real estate agent. I said, okay, walk me through that process. What are you afraid of investing? She's like, I'm really scared to buy a home right now, et cetera. I said, so as a real estate agent, so if we forget about being an investor right now, as a real estate agent, are you advising your buyers to wait or to buy?
Yeah.
She's like, to buy. I'm like, so what's the difference between you being a real estate agent and you advising your clients to buy right now versus you as a real estate investor and you're too scared to buy a house, an investment property? She sat there. She's like, "Oh, you're correct."
Pretty good point.
Yes, and so ultimately, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth, right?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, you gotta buy what you're selling.
Yeah. So as long as the numbers make sense, right? It's not about the property; it's about the price and the deal.
That's actually been just massively true in the investment space right now. This is just kind of a little tiny overview, right? It's just like we're talking about, like, house prices are still high, rates, all that type of stuff. Like, we've been having this debate and argument on the multifamily and syndication and commercial side for a while now. It's like, there's really no bad time to buy an asset. The asset has to work in the variables of the time. Same with if you're buying a single family or whatever, right? Like, don't go and invest right now just because we're saying to and you're being contrarian. Still, like, underwrite the deal and make sure your numbers are good. But don't ever think it's a bad time to invest your money. There are good deals in all times. It just depends on what you got to do to go get those good deals. Right now, it's going to get easier and easier for a while to get better deals.
I shared with you and Buchowski, our other business partner in Deep Blue Capital, and a podcast that I listened to the other day about this gentleman whom I'm trying to remember when he started investing. Is back in, I think, 10 or 11, and he's former military, so military veteran, got out, and he was telling every one of his friends that he was going to be really wealthy.
Those guys tend to crush it.
Or not, right? Okay. So it's one of the two. So he just kept telling people, and in his story, is like, they didn't believe him, right? Yeah. Because ultimately the guy, he just didn't, he's like, I think he said he barely graduated, he didn't care about school. And he just kind of bummed around, had his first kid, and just had this realization that he needed to it was time to grow up. Yeah. And his first kind of light bulb moment was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And about acquiring properties, but he didn't have any money. And so ultimately what he did is he spent 1 year of just going back then on Craigslist and just looking at everything through seller that had the term seller terms, owner finance, and he would just call and talk to people. And eventually he ended up owner financing a couple of properties that he had no money out of pocket, and he just built this massive owner financing portfolio that as it grew and it hit a certain point, he would then go and refinance that into permanent debt. Yeah. And it was never about the money. He told people it was about being wealthy, but it was never about money. Yeah. In his mind, when he finally broke it down, it was about what money could do to build the lifestyle he wanted. Right? He just never wanted to go work for somebody.
There is a big disconnect for most people there in, like, money versus vision.
Yes. right? And he finally realized that, and he just works. His work is to fund his lifestyle, and his lifestyle is to be on the road. His lifestyle is to not work for anybody, or to be able to choose when he wants to work. And ultimately, I think that's what we need to identify. I think really that's what we need to identify from ourselves, because I don't think we can answer that.
We don't think we can answer. And by the way, it's not even something you need to do once. Like, it's something you revisit all the time. You're always evolving. You're just not the same person for any more than a moment in time. I am adamant about this, and I've been doing this a lot lately, right, is revisiting my vision for my life and what I want. And it's evolved and it's changed over the years. And I just think your decisions are so tightly wound to this predisposition about how you think things need to be or should be. And a lot of that's because we just go through daily life just making the decisions we need to make in the moment that day. How often do we really slow down and think about our ultimate vision? I'll just tell you, like, everything from the activities you do every day to the commitments you make to the risks you're willing to take are all tied to your vision. It's just whether or not that vision is imprinted upon you, like, organically through your daily ongoings, or something you actually took the time to map out and plan out. And every story that you'll hear about someone like that who's been wildly successful, it's usually because they mapped and planned out an ultimate vision. But a lot of us don't do that.
Yeah.
And then we come from a place of fear or scarcity, or how do I get through today or this week or this month or whatever, and we never lead to that ultimate vision.
Or that maybe their goal of what wealthy is or what money is, like, it's unrealistic to even their lifestyle, right? So they have, I need to make $1 million, and it's like, what if you don't make it and you only make $250,000 or $150,000, right? And you could have, but you don't. And let's say you can make $150,000 every year.
Yeah.
And you work for yourself. You don't hate your job, because you're not working with crappy clients.
Yeah.
You're not working. You've got, maybe we'll take this gentleman that I referenced about the podcast I listened to. You've got tenants, but at the same time, they're not that. It's not as stressful.
Yeah.
So you're making $150,000 a year. Your life is 10 times less stressful than what it would be now.
Yeah.
And you know that you have that security of that number coming in. Would you take that versus the desire to try to burn yourself
Just
out,
the numbers,
to work down to the, your fingers down to the bones to try to hit that $1 million mark, because that you set some set some ridiculous goal.
Yeah. For no reason.
You
right?
can't explain why you want to hit that number, other than that just sounds really sexy, and maybe you just want to call yourself a millionaire.
I think that's what so many people fall victim to. Because, like, by the way, there are a lot of millionaires out there right now. Like, so, or it's 2023 and inflation. So,
Within,
all
you're
that.
a millionaire, but you're probably only
It's like-
technically 100,000.
Yeah, you only got like $60 in your
Yeah.
pocket, right?
Yeah.
And we do this thing with numbers.
Your bank account's tied to the CPI report, and so the higher that goes, the lower your bank
Wouldn't
account.
that be something?
Yeah.
I had a fun experience last week. It was exact like that exact realm, and I was fortunate enough to spend a couple days with Gary Keller, and I went to his ranch, which was super cool. It's the first time I've ever been. But he was talking about, it's everything, by the way, you would think it would be, and he's always been a really nice guy to me.
Yeah.
But he spoke a lot about, like, this was always my vision. And if you've seen it, or kind of just even can imagine what I'm talking about, of somebody who's built the biggest real estate company on earth, like, the money wasn't it. It was what he wanted his life to look like.
Just to have a ranch.
It's a pretty visionary ranch.
Sure
so,
it is.
man,
I'm sure it is.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
But it was not, I want to make $5 billion.
Correct.
It was, I want this place with my family.
Yeah.
And that, I think, fuels you so much more than anything else. And we don't take enough time to slow down and think about what we really want.
And I think we haven't done that either, but I think we've talked about it. You and I have, where we've mapped out, like, from our businesses. We're not trying to make millions off of our one business, right? Where they're legs of a table, and if we could have X from that leg, X from this leg, X from this leg, and X from this leg, then ultimately you're able to help more people.
Yep.
and diversify it a little bit more, maybe it doesn't burn you out.
Yeah. There's always an adventure.
To where you just want to give up, or go look for other jobs, or just buy an RV and travel the world.
Right. Retire to Thailand because everything's cheaper there, right?
Yeah. Or maybe that's what you want.
Well, maybe that. Yeah. By the way, don't take that off the table.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you want.
So
have a vision, people.
yeah, have a vision. Let's get the NAR people on because we just need to drag them into this. I need to know what's up.
All right, Jesse, give us one real fast.
Yeah, because I got kindergarten graduation.
Kindergarten graduation. We can't miss it. Okay. What is
I
it?
was gonna say I think number 3 actually would be kind of funny.
If you could replace rain.
Let me release or remove confetti from this.
Okay.
If you could replace rain with any other substance, what hilarious, for me, substance would it be, and what are some of the consequences?
Okay, so instead of raining rain, it rains something else. Oh my gosh, that could be endless.
I was thinking about what if it's like syrup?
Syrup?
Oh, but think how sticky that goes.
Yeah, seriously,
Bro, that would be.
That's what I'm saying.
We'd act so differently. Like we wouldn't care. Like some people don't care about going in the rain.
No.
But they would care if they
Katie
got
says
mad
queso.
sticky.
Yes.
Queso?
But that would be hot. So if you're caught in a queso storm, I think your skin's, I'm assuming, gets burned.
I mean,
get your chips ready.
there might be something to this. I mean, in some way, we do control the weather in the sense of global warming.
Here we
And
go.
oh, no. I'm not going down the road. What I'm saying.
What about chemtrails?
What I'm saying.
Are the birds actually spies?
Yeah, no, they're doing 6G. Right? What I'm saying is if we can control it accidentally, maybe we can start to control it slowly over time so it does rain chocolate or queso. We just got to start to evaporate the right ingredients, people. Making big yellow clouds.
That's true.
Wouldn't that? I mean, queso would be a fun one. Queso would be a fun one. I would like something more sinister, like nails.
Oof.
No, I'm just kidding. That would be terrible.
Again, you're caught unprepared.
We're definitely unprepared.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how seriously? If you, we were playing golf the other day, and you saw some clouds out in the distance, and you're like, we may not get this round in, and we're both like, I don't know, we'll try. Hopefully it works out. If it rained nails, it wouldn't matter if you saw the tiniest cloud in the sky. You would be indoors. We would behave so differently. There'd be no dancing in the rain.
No. I would have it rain money.
Of course.
Yeah.
I just
Dollar, it's got to be paper money, though. Not coins.
not going.
Not coins.
Silver dollars.
Yeah.
Paper money just slowly
Yeah.
sinking down to the earth.
Where? What's wrong with you, Katie? That's funny. Where would the money come from, though? Because
The
eventually,
sky. It comes from the sky.
well,
Yeah,
but then eventually it wouldn't be. That's how you cause inflation, Nick. You
true.
can't just give people money for nothing because then it becomes worthless.
But that's what we've been doing, Brian.
This dude just wants unlimited quantitative easy.
Well, I've got to pay for my NAR dues.
But then they're going to cost like $1,500 because all this free money coming from this guy.
But it's not free because we don't know when it's going to rain. We'll probably climate change
That's true.
make it less.
That'd be your new investment opportunity.
Yeah.
Is you'd be a storm chaser.
Yep.
Storm chasers would be the richest people in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if it was like little gold coins?
And that's going
Gold
to hurt,
coins.
man.
Well, there's a risk reward thing there.
Yeah.
Like you've got to figure
No,
out.
it would be. That's what it'd be. Is thunderstorms have like paper and gold coins, which would replace hail.
Okay.
So you better watch out.
So you just have to make like a suit that can withstand it. It's
a
not going to,
big
like the coin hit you on the
bee
head, you're
suit.
just gone.
Coming
Because
in
what
like
did they say?
100
If you
miles
drop a penny off the Empire State Building, it would impale you? Is that
I don't-
true?
I
don't think-
don't know. I don't
Can
think
you
it's
actually
true.
see if that's
but-
true? That's not true. I don't think that's true.
That's what they used to talk about.
There's an optimum, or what is it, like a terminal speed.
Yes.
There's a terminal speed.
What happens if you drop a penny?
It doesn't endlessly
Off
go
of-
faster forever. There's a terminal speed.
It's dangerous. It says it's dangerous.
Well, yeah,
I'm
it's
sure.
like dangerous, right? It'll accelerate such speed that
it
it
says
starts
that's a
to.
myth.
It would kill them.
It's a
I'm saying
myth.
It is the
It's
myth.
not true.
Wait, is it true?
Hold on.
It says it's not true. Go back up.
Jesus.
So they were wrong. I've been lied to the whole time. This is why public education
Because there's
doesn't
air
work.
resistance, like it was said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. It would take 9 seconds. Might sound fast, but fortunately, still not fast enough to kill someone. I heard the myth was that it would put like a 3-foot hole in the ground or whatever.
No, but again, that's the problem with public
There's
education.
air friction.
Next
guys.
week's show, we're going to dissect public education.
Whoa.
Are you for or against
Or
it?
against it.
Yes. But today's show
You
is
are creating unemployment.
Today's show is brought to you by Mortgage Mike, mortgagemikeoftexas.com. If you want to get that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval, just go to him, Mortgage Mike of Texas. He'll drop every loan that he does with you. He'll drop a penny off the Empire State Building.
And kill someone.
Oh, I didn't go that far because it's a myth. It's a myth.
It's gonna be
all
fine,
jokes.
guys.
Yeah,
It's
we're
fine.
having fun here, no?
Fine.
Yeah. Then go over and talk to Jesse at Tor Studios. It's the only Tor Studios in Plano.
In the world.
That
in
is
Dallas.
true.
Yes, in the world.
That's true.
If you want to look good on video, you want to get a podcast up and running, you want to get video editing, your social media content done, get with Jesse Showalter at Tor Studios. He'll be the one to hook you up on this. He makes us look good every week, or tries to. And
As good as I can.
yes, after that, when you're coming in here, you can invite Theron Smith to be your first guest.
Mm-hmm.
And he can talk about how he's getting this bus converted into an RV.
I do want to talk
And
to him about that.
his hard shell protection, he's covering that bus with Armadillo Home Warranty.
Yeah, he is.
Armadillo RV Warranty. Just go to armadillo.one/Tor, T-O-R-E.
I have a real feeling that this bus is going to look like an armadillo.
I would be disappointed if it didn't.
I think he's going to do
Yes.
Yeah, I would be disappointed if it didn't.
Yes.
that. I really think
This
he is.
bus is turning into the Armadillo hard shell protection. He's going to drive it. It's like the Oscar Mayer one.
Yeah, that's
Oh
what,
my
I had
gosh.
in my head.
Theron, all right. It has to go that direction, man. It has to go that
I'll
direction.
actually be pretty disappointed now if it
Yeah,
doesn't
seriously.
look like that.
Yep. So get with Theron and tell him right now for every warranty, he will put a piece on that hard shell on his RV and drive around that Armadillo. So armadillo.one/Tor. It's the best home warranty company. Actually, they're covered in all 50 states, I believe now. I believe that's true. So he'll hook you up on that. And then chat with Dana Wynn. If you heard Brian that most people don't invest in real estate during this downturn, don't be one of those people. Don't be one of those 90%. Be the 10% that goes and buys real estate right now, and then you leverage that out because you don't want to be the one taking it all your time of handling tenant calls. Right? You don't want to do that. Let Dana do that. She loves that stuff. Dana Wynn, homewarddfw.com, your property management company of Dallas-Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth. Boys,
All right, I got kindergarten graduation.
got to get to kindergarten graduation, and I got to get to pickleball. We are some adult people.
Yes.
That's just an old man thing to say.
Brian, until next week.
See you then, brother.
Yep. Get us out of here. Hey, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it. Checking out another episode of the only real estate podcast worth listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that share button, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe button. Right? We're dropping more stuff on YouTube constantly. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review, please. We're really, really focused on building up those reviews so we can get more searchable content on there. And if you're on Facebook, like everyone else is, go over and search the only real estate group worth being a part of. You're going to want to go join that group. I'm telling you right now, there's so much gold in there. So go join, share us on YouTube, and leave us that iTunes review, please. Go do it right now. We'll see you on the next show.